Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of the It Girl Mindset. I'm so freaking excited to be here, and I'm so excited to be in your ear. So today we are talking about how to get out of a funk. And if I'm going to be super honest here, yesterday I was in a huge funk, and I feel like recently I've just been in more funks or just kind of like having these hard days where I just feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders and I get super just overwhelmed, and I kind of get like analysis by paralysis. It's actually more of a nervous system response, the freeze response. And so I just wanted to kind of talk to you about like what you can do if you're in a funk and how to get out of it. So let's get into it. Welcome to the It Girl Mindset, where I help you step into the next level version of yourself by mastering your mindset, manifesting your deepest desires, and connecting deeply with your body. It's about becoming the most authentic, radiant, unapologetic, and unbothered version of yourself. Together, we're going to chat about how to unlock your true potential and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to become the healthiest, hottest, and most abundant version of yourself, you're in the perfect place. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, why I was in a bit of a funk yesterday. We have been having a lot of fun times. We went to a wedding on Friday and then got back pretty late, but I slept until 7:30, so go me. And then we got up and went golfing the next day. All of these are super fun things, but I am a highly sensitive person, and if you're not familiar with HSPs, long story short, our nervous system is just not as resilient as the normal humans. We feel the world deeply. A lot of us are very empathic. Just whether it's high or low, it's on level 200, okay? I'm just like one of those people where I just like feel everything so deeply and so intensely, whether that is good or bad or hard or stress, whatever it may be. So knowing this about myself, and especially now that like I don't drink alcohol, I think a lot of times I was so stressed out and I kept blaming it on the like hangover or alcohol or whatever it may be. I think like I used to think that that was the cause, and now that that is not here and I don't drink anymore, it's like I have to deal with all of my emotions even more because I know that that's not something to blame it on, and I know that I have to feel all of my emotions. I have no other option. And just as a highly sensitive person, again, like I'm always one of those people that's a big crier, happy, sad tears, whatever it may be. I'm a crier. I cry multiple times a week. And I used to think of that as a bad thing, and I was super embarrassed about it for the longest time. But I've just learned that I'm a highly sensitive person. Anyways, knowing that about me, I just have to give myself so much grace. And even yesterday, it's one of those days where I feel overwhelmed. I am really hard on myself. I feel like I need to be like this perfect girlfriend, this perfect, daughter, this perfect, sister, business owner. Like I feel like I wear all of these hats and I put these unrealistic expectations on myself. Plus, I'm a recovering people pleaser. And so saying no to people that I care about makes me like want to projectile vomit sometimes. And long story short, my dad invited me to Easter, and I knew like I'm leaving for Hawaii in a week and a half. And I just like recently have been doing so many fun things that I haven't been prioritizing my business as much as I would like to, because I also have another job that I do on the side, just kind of some contract work that I can do whenever I want. But still, I haven't been prioritizing my own business as much, and that is just not acceptable to me. And so I knew that I kind of had to set some boundaries, and I was like, okay, I need to say no to going to my dad's, and I need to focus on making sure I'm getting everything done before my trip to Hawaii, because every single trip to Hawaii that I've gone on, I've worked, if not the whole time, 75% of the time. And not that I'm like locking myself in my room the whole time, but like I'm either recording podcasts or I'm like posting social media stuff or like having client calls. And this is the first time ever that I am not working at all. I'm going to make sure I have podcasts done ahead of time, except for one because Eric's going to be on there with me. But anyways, I had to say no and to two things. Actually 3, because it was like Eric's parents also invited us over. My dad invited us over. My mom invited us over to something else. And I was just like, oh my God, like I have to say no to all these people and people that I really, really deeply care about. And also I feel so behind in my business. I feel so behind with like everything that I want to do. And I have these big goals and dreams. And I, again, just felt the weight. Like I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. And so that kind of had me spiraling yesterday. Also, just always have to add this because it's a very important piece, is I just started my luteal phase. And luteal phase, if you don't know, is right before your period. So, and for me, you know, everyone has different phases of their cycle that are a little bit different. Majority are somewhat similar. For me though, my luteal phase is 100 times worse than my actual period, which is honestly so annoying because I'd rather bleed and like be emotionally like I was gonna say emotionally unstable during like one time period, not extend out to, you know, bleeding and emotional, that just unstable. But anyways, you guys get the point. I just, long story short, was really struggling yesterday. So I thought that this would be a good time to kind of tell you how I get out of funks and what I do, and how if you're in a funk, you can also kind of like pull yourself out of it. That being said, the first thing is we don't try to immediately pull ourselves out of it. Because if we don't let ourselves feel the emotions and feel the feelings, whatever, we're actually not going to process them. We're just going to store them and push them down, and they're going to come out eventually. So if you would like to have a not big explosion, freak out, total burnout later on, you have to feel your emotions now, especially because your body stores onto the emotions. I try to let my emotions out and feel them physically in my body as well as mentally in my mind. One thing that really helps me process my emotions, and I feel so grateful I have the best boyfriend in the whole entire world, is he sits and listens to me always. And he honestly knew something was wrong. And I even was like, I'm so fucking sick of my own shit right now. I feel like I've had so many like challenging mentally days recently that I didn't even want to tell him. I was like trying to kind of hold it in. And he's like, come on, just tell me. And so I told him what was going on. And of course, he was like the best and listened. So if you have someone that you can talk to about things, or they know and can tell something's wrong, I highly recommend being able to have someone like that to be able to talk to. And then if you don't, being able to process it in some way, okay? So even if that is, you know, journaling out your emotions. And as a side note, I've been avoiding journaling like the plague. Like until like the last 2 weeks. Before that, I was like, no, I can't journal. Like it feels so overwhelming because I was like putting these, again, unrealistic expectations on myself that I needed to do it for at least 20 minutes. And sometimes 20 minutes just feels way too long on top of my meditation, because I am like doing a 365 meditation challenge with myself. And that just feels like very overwhelming to do 20 minutes of journaling and meditation on top of that. So anyways, I was like putting these expectations on something that didn't need to be there. And now I kind of released those. I actually was talking to someone in the coaching industry who's also a friend, and that kind of came up, and I started journaling again. And oh my God, like just letting out my emotions in a journal, whether it's 2 minutes or 20 minutes, feels so good. And I almost feel like it just helps me stay aligned with what I'm actually feeling. Because a lot of times in my head, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm feeling. I will just talk it out to myself in my brain because I allow myself the space to do that. But then I realized I wasn't like fully letting go of it. I was just kind of like thinking about it, having the conversation. But to actually let go of it, I needed to start journaling, which is exactly what I did. So anyways, the first step is feeling your feelings, letting, like, even just sitting there and crying or screaming or whatever you have to do to actually feel what's going on. Okay. Then, you know, you get to decide what you want to do from there. If I'm being so real, because I don't want to pretend that I'm perfect, because I'm absolutely not. Perfection doesn't even exist anyways, but I let myself scroll on social media yesterday. I was just having one of those bad mental health days, and I started scrolling on social media. But I will say, the second that it made my mental health worse, that's when I knew I had to take a step away. Because again, I don't think it's a bad thing every once in a while if you just need to like sit and binge TV or sit in TikTok. You know, we wear all these different hats. We have all these like things that we need to do, whether that's business owner, healthy habits, go to the gym, meal prep, like cook dinner, take your kids to school, whatever it may be. It's like, we've got so many things going on. And if you need a couple hours to fucking just sit and scroll and be a couch potato, to give yourself permission to do that. But what I don't want you to do is, and I'm talking to myself here, sit, scroll, or watch TV or whatever, and then feel guilty about it after, because that's not even giving you real rest if you are just feeling bad about what you just did. And again, there are obviously, you know, ranges and limits to this where it's like, okay, if every single time you're upset, you just go and scroll on TikTok and you're ignoring your feelings or you're not allowing yourself to process your emotions, that's that other side of the boundary where it's like, okay, maybe this isn't actually what I need right now. But I will say, if you're a high achieving girly or very ambitious and you actually don't allow yourself to just kind of like sit and be, whether that is scrolling or watching TV or whatever it may be, just allow yourself the space to do that. Do it in a controlled way to where you're not spending 20 million hours or like 8 hours a day doing that. But if you need a day to just be, not go on a walk, not like prep healthy meals, not be a superhuman, then allow yourself the space to do that. And that's what I did yesterday. And so that was the next point, was just kind of like, I let myself scroll. I woke up yesterday, I meditated for like literally 5 minutes, and then I went and I watched TV. I started this new show on Netflix. I think it's called Pulse. It's like a doctor movie or a doctor show, and it's just bringing me back because I used to be obsessed with Grey's Anatomy, and it was so good. I loved it. Anyways, but I just kind of like let myself be. And even yesterday, I again was still having kind of like a tough day. And then this is the next tip, is to get yourself out of your environment, okay? If I would have stayed in my house all day, I think I would have driven myself crazy. I probably would have continued to scroll or just continued to be upset, but I needed to be in a new environment by myself. So for me, I had already planned I needed to go to the grocery store, and I knew it was going to be chaotic, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to go and get myself out of the house, go be in a new environment. And I knew it was going to be chaotic, and I knew I was already like mentally having a tough time. So I put a headphone in and I listened to kind of like some motivational meditations and kind of calming meditations as I was kind of out and about going to the grocery store. I also truly enjoy the grocery store. So if a grocery store is one of those things where you're like, I fucking hate it and I never want to go to the store, maybe that's not the best thing to take care of your mental health. But I personally love it. And I even kind of like was on TikTok and looking at some fun meals and getting some new ideas. And that was like, again, doing something that made me feel good. And it wasn't about being productive. It wasn't about any of that. It really was just about like what can I do to make myself feel better when, you know, especially when you're in these funks. So again, processing your emotion, letting yourself just be, and then doing something that makes you feel good. And again, for me, I freaking love grocery shopping. I don't know if that's weird, but just being around like the healthy foods, it's just, and like the vegetables and the produce, I don't know, it's just a vibe to me. And so I did that, and then I came home and I was feeling so much better. I also bought myself some flowers. So that's another thing. If you need to get out of the house and you don't want to go grocery shopping, maybe you just go and get yourself some flowers. I would not recommend going and get a coffee unless it's a decaf, because that will just make us more anxious and more spirally. So maybe get yourself a lemonade or something. I don't know where people sell that, but go get yourself a little cute fun drink and some flowers to get yourself out of the house and just in a new environment. It's so helpful. And then after I got home, I was feeling so much better and I decided, you know what, I am just going to do a quick little cleanup because I know tomorrow I'm going to feel so good that if the house is clean, and I'm going to feel even more anxious if it's dirty. So I put on a podcast and I just was vibing, doing a quick little cleanup. It probably took me like an hour. And again, these are just things that like I knew were going to make me feel better. Even if in this very moment I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't wait to clean. I knew tomorrow to set myself up for success, I'm just going to do a quick little cleanup. And then the next kind of thing to get out of a funk is to lean on your tools, okay? What I teach my clients is having a toolbox of tools. Your toolbox is going to look different than my toolbox, okay? But long story short, here are some things that could be in your toolbox, which are in mine. Journaling, like we talked about, a great way to process your emotions. And if you hate like writing by hand, I personally like it. It feels very healing. But if you don't, you could literally type it on your computer. In the free Notion dashboard that I've created for you guys, the link is actually in the show notes if you want to snag it yourself. But in there, I have a brain dump section. So if you need to journal your feelings out, if you need to get any emotions out, you have a place to do that. That isn't necessarily writing in a journal. And I said this on my Instagram story, but definitely want to grab that sooner rather than later because that will be gone soon. And I'm going to be putting out one that will not be free because I've just completely revamped it. So snag that ASAP if you want it. And there's other tools in there like grocery shopping list, a daily planner, weekly planner, time blocking. There's so much in there. So again, make sure you snag it before that goes away and the next one's paid. Okay, some other things that could be in your toolbox for me, breath work has been fucking life-changing for me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with breath work, but honestly, it's low-key like a psychedelic experience if you actually are like tuning into your body and doing the actual breath work that is being facilitated. I work with one of my mentors, Becca. I've done a bunch of her programs. I'm literally her biggest fan. And I also work one-to-one with her, and she does a ton of breathwork sessions. She does also like somatic experiences and sessions, but the breathwork it just fuels me. Like I always feel so much better after. And it's pretty much like a guided meditation, but you're doing specific types of breath work to be able to tap into your body. It's so fucking powerful. So anyways, that's actually what I did last night is after dinner, I made dinner. So Eric cleaned up and I was like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs. Eric went to the driving range or whatever. And obviously he asked if I wanted to come. And I was like, no, I got to take care of my mental health right now. So I showered, got in bed, and I think at like 6:30, and I did a breathwork session. It was about 45 minutes, and not all of them are that long. And I'm sure you can find some on YouTube, honestly. But during this breathwork session, it just allowed me to really process my emotions and just kind of like get excited again. Because again, like I kind of did all the work to kind of just like let it go, kind of processed it. And I'm like, you know what? I need a little bit of like hype, like hype me up, okay? So this breathwork was really, really powerful for me to like, again, kind of like let go of what I needed to and kind of like motivate and inspire and just kind of like go through this journey of feeling better. And the one that we actually worked on was about abundance. So it was financial abundance. So we kind of worked with the states of like being stressed and like maybe fearful and like things that, and letting go of, you know, money type of beliefs that no longer serve us and stepping into like a very abundant type of energy. So it felt really, really good for me. Some other tools could be subconscious rewiring. This is what I do with my clients, and it is so fucking life-changing, you guys. If you're not familiar with subconscious reprogramming, long story short, we have beliefs that are ingrained in us either from childhood, ages 0 to 7, because you only had a subconscious mind, you did not have a conscious mind, and your subconscious mind is all these programs that are running in the background because there's like 32 million bits of information coming at us at 1 second, and your brain can't process all of that. So that's why we have some things that come into our conscious mind due to our reticular activating system. That's kind of like that idea of like what you focus on grows, okay? And then our subconscious is just all these automatic behaviors, all the other stuff that your brain can't process. It'll generalize or distort. So again, all of this information is being processed, and you are either consciously, which is like, okay, I know this is happening, or unconsciously, which is that subconscious programming. When we do subconscious reprogramming, what we're able to do is bypass the conscious mind and shift at a subconscious level. Like I said, you even have beliefs that you don't even know that you believe that, but it's because it's running in your subconscious mind. That's why change can be such a challenge, is because you can say, okay, I want to take care of my body and put myself first, but your subconscious mind ends up self-sabotaging and reverting you back to whatever your deep-rooted belief is. So with subconscious reprogramming, we can let go of that within like 10 minutes. And again, this is what I work on heavily with my one-to-one clients, because your beliefs dictate how you show up, which dictates the outcome. Okay, so when we shift at a subconscious level, we're able to shift your beliefs in an instant. Okay, if you're interested in one-to-one coaching, I do have a spot open right now in the mind-body method. So my mind-body method is the way that I help my clients, and that is through mind, body, and nervous system. Okay, all three of these tie in so powerfully. And with clients, we shift at an identity level. We work on rewiring your subconscious mind so you can show up and heal your body from the inside out. Okay, we're going to do the deep healing work. This is work that allows you to stop self-sabotaging and actually get to the root to heal your body and heal your relationship with food. If you're interested, the application is in the description below. Subconscious reprogramming is a huge tool that you can have. With my one-to-one clients, I obviously do it live with them, but they also get a recording that they can do at any time. So again, if that's in your toolbox, use it. You have it to use when you need it, okay? Some other kind of tools in your toolbox could just be going for a walk with no headphones, or maybe even putting in headphones and doing some sort of, binaural beats, or, some sort of frequency, some hertz frequency on, just so you can kind of like tap into the present moment and just like start to feel whatever you need to feel. Or you can do a motivational meditation, which is something I have a very exciting announcement coming very soon. But long story short, it's essentially kind of like coaching in your ear. So a motivational pep talk to help you feel whatever you need to feel, whether that is maybe you're spiraling from bloating, or maybe you're just having a super bad body image day, or maybe you binged and are struggling to kind of get out of a negative headspace, okay? All of these are going to tie into some of these motivational kind of pep talks and coaching sessions. So again, you get to create your own toolbox. What works for me is not going to work for you, and vice versa, okay? You have your own unique toolbox that you need to create for yourself to get yourself out of these funks, okay? So that covers it, okay? So you have to process your emotions, you got to let yourself be, and then do something that's going to make you feel good, okay? Whether that is going for a walk, or maybe doing a subconscious reprogramming, maybe both, or listening to some affirmations on a walk, or going and buying yourself flowers, okay? There's not one right way to do this, but allowing yourself the space to feel your feelings and move out of them in a way that is supportive for you. Wow, this was a bit longer than I had expected, but I just wanted you to know that if you are going through some tough times or having some hard days, like, it's okay. Just remember that Instagram is a highlight reel. You need to do what's best for you, processing your emotions. And I know hard days can be very challenging, but when you have the tools to get yourself out of it, that's when it becomes so much easier. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy for me, but I know that I have the tools and I have my own toolbox to actually get out of days like this, okay? All right, my loves, that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for being here. I freaking love you guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you want to leave a review on Spotify, you just go to the top and click those stars. It takes 0.2 seconds. And if you'd like to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, I've also left the link in the description where you can go ahead and do that too. Your words really help the podcast grow. So if you do that, I just want to thank you so freaking much in advance. Okay, my love, thank you so much for being here. I'm proud of you. We're going to get through these hard days together, okay? Okay, love you. Bye.